Sega.
More of us are coming. This planet will be ours.
You lost this war before you started, fool.
Primary threat spotted.
Moving into position. Neutralizing.
Take cover! Strike from the sky, brothers! This planet is ours, witch.
No, this planet is theirs.
We are receiving reports that the Eldar are stirring up the orcs on the nearby Typhon system.
Commander, the Greenskins continue to attack vulnerable targets. A communications array has come under attack from an orc horde. They seek to loot and destroy this important structure. These arrays improve our communications across the subsector and allow us to monitor enemy movements. We cannot afford to lose that advantage. The orc assault is about to begin, Commander. The Greenskins will target the generators powering the array. If those fall, the relay will be theirs.
Ready. Inside. Say it now before the cleansing begins. Everyone inside.
This is Avitus. Logan Brothers.
One of our generators is under attack. Third fire, brothers! Target the green.
already actually and consciously where everyone has always potentially been without knowing. The person who has not in this life gone into thusness, into the eternal principle of all states of being, goes at death into some particular state, either purgatorial or paradisal. In the Hindu scriptures and their commentaries, several different kinds of posthumous salvation are distinct. Layers deep settles on his mirror. Rust spots begin to gnaw his iron. The colour of his jewel grows less and less. Jalal-ud-Din Rumi. If there is freedom, and even determinists consistently act as if they were certain of it, and if, as everyone who has qualified himself to talk about the subject has always been convinced, there is a spiritual reality, which it is the final end and purpose of consciousness to know, then all life is in the nature of an intelligence test, and the higher the level of awareness and the greater the potentialities of the creature, the more searchingly difficult will be the questions asked. For in Bagehot's words, we could not be what we ought to be if we lived in the sort of universe we should expect. A latent providence, a confused life, an odd material world, an existence broken short in the midst and on a sudden, are not real difficulties, but real helps. For they, or something like them, are essential conditions of a moral life in a subordinate being. Because we are free, it is possible for us to answer life's questions either well or badly. If we answer them badly, we shall bring down upon ourselves self-stultification. Most often this self-stultification will take subtle and not immediately detectable forms, as when our failure to answer properly makes it impossible for us to realize the higher potentialities of our being. Sometimes, on the contrary, the self-stultification is manifest on the physical level, and may involve not only individuals as individuals, but entire societies, which go down in catastrophe or sink more slowly into decay. The giving of correct answers is rewarded primarily by spiritual growth and progressive realization of latent potentialities, and secondly, when circumstances make it possible, by the adding of all the rest to the realized kingdom of God. Karma exists, but its equivalence of act and award is not always obvious and material, as the earlier Buddhist and Hebrew writers ingeniously imagined that it should be. The bad man in prosperity may, all unknown to himself, be darkened and corroded with inward rust, while the good man under afflictions may be in the rewarding process of spiritual growth. No, God is not mocked. But also, let us always remember, he is not understood. Pero nella giustizia sempiterna, la vista che riceve vostro mondo, com occhio per lo mar, dentro s'interna, che benché dalla proda veggia il fondo, in pelago nol vede e non di meno, e lì me cela lui lessa profondo. Wherefore, in the eternal justice, such sight as your earth receives is engulfed like the eye in the sea. For though by the shore it can see the bottom, in the ocean it cannot see it. Yet none the less the bottom is there, but the depth hides it. Love is the plummet as well as the astrolabe of God's mysteries, and the pure in heart can see far down into the depths of the divine justice to catch a glimpse, not indeed of the details of the cosmic process, but at least of its principle and nature. These insights permit them to say, with Juliana of Norwich, that all shall be well, that in spite of time, all is well, and that the problem of evil has its solution in the eternity, which men can, if they so desire. It would of course be a mistake to imagine that this presence is the presence of that God who is a spirit and must be worshipped in spirit. It is rather the psychic presence of men's thoughts and feelings about the particular, limited form of God, to which they have resorted, according to the impulse of their inborn nature. Thoughts and feelings projected into objectivity and by haunting the sacred place in the same way as thoughts and feeling of another kind, but of equal intensity, haunt the scenes of some past suffering or crime. The presence in these consecrated buildings, the presence evoked by the performance of traditional rites, the presence inherent in a sacramental object, name, or formula, all these are real presences, but real presences not of God or the Avatar, but of something which, though it may reflect the divine reality, is yet less and other than it. Dulcis Jesu memoria, dans vera corde gaudia, sed super mel et omnia, eius dulcis presentia. Sweet is the memory of Jesus, giving true joys to the heart. But sweeter beyond honey and all else is his presence. This opening stanza of the famous 12th century hymn summarizes in 15 words the relations subsisting between ritual and real presence, and the character of the worshipper's reaction to each. Systematically cultivated memoria, a thing in itself full of sweetness, first contributes to the evocation, then results, for certain souls, in the immediate apprehension of presentia, which brings with it joys of a totally different and higher kind. This presence, whose projected objectivity is occasionally so complete as to be apprehensible not merely by the devout worshipper, but by more or less indifferent outsiders, is always that of the divine being who has been previously remembered, Jesus here, Krishna or Amitabha Buddha there. The value of this practice, repetition of the name of Amitabha Buddha, is this. So long as one person practices his method of spirituality, and another practices a different method, they counterbalance one another, and their meeting is just the same as their not meeting.